Hi, this is Ed Harrow, Hopkinton Open Space Preservation Commission Chair. Just giving you an update on our last meeting, which we had to delay a week to the 14th, which gave an excuse to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So you missed the soda bread. Too bad. And you missed Craig Nation did an excellent job getting the accoutrements that we needed out of the kitchen. He got napkins, he got knives to spread the butter and the jam. Superb job. And when you see Craig, please let him know how much I admire his host skills. That will do. Okay. So the first thing on our agenda is public forum. And we had Dan McIntyre of the Permanent Building Committee come in and shockingly ask Open Space about our opinions. This was a rather novel experience for Open Space. We were all very pleased. And we discussed what to me was the principal issue, the land behind Center School. But we got into looking to Shannon for her insight as to how town hall works and doesn't work. We had a general discussion about the options of where town hall could be and go and how it would interface. And Shannon was a really key contributor to that because none of us work in town hall, so we couldn't attest to that. We could only say, yeah, the land is a great piece of land. And if you haven't been back behind the school, you go in behind Center School, and you'll go through an easement for N-Star, and then you'll get into a pretty difficult piece of property with a pretty nice trail on it, and that's destined to become part of Open Space. And so we're pretty excited about that. The next thing on our agenda was the continuing encroachment issue at 61 Winter Street. This has been going on for nearly 13 years. I have letters going back to 2011, and the property owner doesn't like meetings. He wants us to come, and we've been to his house. We've been to his house with town council. And so Shannon is writing him a letter. I'm kind of outlining the history, and we'll see where we go from there. The next thing on our agenda was this is an old subdivision that's getting CPR'd and being brought back to life with changes in them and so forth, because the as happens, as much as we don't believe this happens, the terrain has changed, and what was destined to be a road is basically, I believe, now more like a swamp and can't be a road. And so the developer wants to give a bunch of the land to Open Space. So we have tentatively have a date of the 2nd of April for at least some of us on Open Space to walk the property, because there's a history of Open Space getting properties that turned out to be pretty wet and not terribly useful. So we're trying to ensure that that's not the case this time. Then there's a land donation behind John Matthew Road. There's an existing trail that goes from Whitehall State Park to Upton State Forest, and some of it is on private land and some of it is potentially not. And so getting this little narrow strip would be a place where we can put the trail and have the trail be on Open Space property. So this looks like something we want to do. And it needs to be investigated. So that's where the status is on that. The next thing that's on our agenda was the Open Space at what I think of as Conley, but is now considered to be Emerald Drive, off of Hayden Row Street by College Street. And there's a significant piece there that's going to be designated open space between abutters and the development. And the planning board has an approved planting list, and we Open Space are saying, we might like to make this a pollinator friendly planting. And we are talking with Craig Nation of the developer and Trevor Smith of Western Nurseries, who's their native plant guy, to see if we can come up with a plan that will make the planning board happy and make the nations happy and make open space happy. So this would be something that's different. This hasn't been done in the past. So we will see how that goes. Then we got to the billboards. And unfortunately, Craig and I had a discussion with Clear Channel a week ago today, kind of following up on the status of things. And because the nations really need to get their show on the road, they're running a business. I understand that you can't. Craig and I have been in the trenches with the billboards now for several months, and we went to the historical commission, who indeed deemed them to be historic. We have documented proof of them before or to 1938. But though they are historic, they are not worthy of preservation, according to the historical commission. So the downfall is they're going to go down, and what could have been a revenue stream of not a lot of money, I will admit, but could have been a revenue stream to the town, and to have town type announcements and things like that potentially put on them for a reasonable price, like $300, is going to, at some point in time in the near future, be gone because the billboards will be coming down. The next thing on our agenda was liaison reports, and this is something new. Trying to get open space to be more plugged into the other boards in town. So like the planning board and the conservation commission and the select board. So the only thing that we had of that was semi-worthy of talking about was that the conservation commission, of which I am a member, voted to approve the weed control efforts on Maspinock. And this is a a difficult situation because there are people very much on both sides of chemicals versus no chemicals, and I tend to be on the no chemical side of things. But when we had a knotweed problem on the Whitehall Conservation Area, and the only way to control knotweed is basically with chemicals, that's what we on open space voted to do, and I supported it. So I couldn't very well, in my heart of hearts, say, no, you can't do that on Maspinock. So anyway, that was voted through. And then lastly, I could send you pictures, but I can show you pictures if they'll show. So this is a tree that was on the George Adams Trail on the Whitehall Conservation Area that over the period of a week between when I walked by it once and when I walked to it the second time, ended up looking like this. And so I called DPW and I called Joe Regan, and DPW came and put up warning tape, which unfortunately I do not have a picture of. That was done the day I made the phone call, and Joe Regan was out. I think Monday the following week. That was a Friday. Monday the following week, and now it looks like that. So it's eminently safe to walk there again, which is the way things should happen. That's our report. And we'll have another one in a few weeks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.